Final Four. Round 2 is done. We only have 2 series left, 4 teams left, which is a shame because we only have 1 Stanley Cup. Let's start in the East because they are wasting no time. The Pittsburgh Penguins defeating the top seeded in the entire league, Washington Capitals. Oh, how bad do you feel for the Washington Capitals? Okay, Flyers fans and Penguins fans, you're exempt from answering that. The rest of you, how bad do you feel? They make a few moves. They still have all the star power from before. They got Alex Ovechkin, who's a robot, still scoring 50 goals. Nicholas Backstrom in the lineup. They get TJ Oshie. Braden Holtby is going to win the Vezina Trophy. And that's not enough to move past round 2. But it's okay because they got a secret weapon. They went out and they signed Mr. Game 7 himself, Justin Williams. And they go and get knocked out in Game 6. Ain't life a... Oh my goodness. And Capitals fans, let me talk to you for a second because I know you gotta be feeling terrible. Here's a toy to cheer you up. Yes, you were the top team in the league. Yes, you went into the playoffs with all the expectations in the world. And yes, you probably should have went a lot further than you did. But... how much worse are they really going to do next year? It's hard not to compound this playoff loss with all of the other ones of yesteryear, but at the end of the day, they'll be here next year. I mean, who knows? Regardless of the outcome of the playoffs, they might come out 2 months from now in a better position than the Pittsburgh Penguins are in right now. And that's the other thing. People are talking about this huge upset, and yeah, it's an upset that the Caps didn't get past round 2, but they lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins, who deserve everything they have right now. Fans were screaming at them to fire their coach. They finally did, and hey, look, it worked. Habs fans watching like, yeah, that's great. Penguins fans like, yeah, it worked last time. Oh, awkward. They've been battling injuries, and it was a dirty series, but the Penguins are still alive. Sidney Crosby looking great. Nick Bonino has been a playoff revelation, and you know who else turns out to be pretty good at that whole playoff hockey thing? I know a guy who might have mentioned he might be good at playoff hockey. Phil Kessel! Leading the Penguins in playoff scoring by 2 points, and if the Penguins do the thing, I'm not saying they will, I'm just saying if. I mean, who's at the top of your list of Conn Smythe candidates? Next, Tampa Bay defeating the New York Islanders in 5 games. My goodness. Can we just talk about how the Tampa Bay Lightning are in the Final Four? They took out the Detroit Red Wings in round 1. They took out the New York Islanders in round 2. They did it in 10 games, and they did it without Anton Stralman or Steven Stamkos the whole time. But, I mean, the reason Tampa is winning is they had to mortgage their whole future to do it. They kept Jonathan Drouin, and they have 9 picks in the upcoming draft. Are you a wizard? I mean, it's hard not to look at the Pittsburgh Penguins like the favorite in the Eastern Conference Final. They did beat the Washington Capitals, and they were the top team in the East. But then you got Tampa looking like they're going to get Stamkos back, looking like they're going to get Stralman back, like, this isn't even my final form. And with Tampa, I think it's easy to go, well, in round 1, they played Detroit. And, well, in round 1, they played the Islanders. You know what? That was a nasty 5-game series against Detroit, and the New York Islanders are no walk in the park. And I think part of the reason the Penguins were able to deal with the Capitals is the Capitals had a chance to sweep the Flyers, and they couldn't finish it off. They could have been just fresh as a daisy, and instead they play 6 in a war against the Flyers. The Penguins deal with the Rangers in 5. But then again, it's not like the Penguins are that much more weathered because Tampa has played 10 games, the Penguins just 11. And Matt Murray versus Henrik Lundqvist, and Matt Murray versus Braden Holtby, and Matt Murray versus Ben Bishop. Talk about a baptism by fire. Now in the West, 2 weird ones. Both series coming in, I go, yeah, I think the Blues will take that, and yeah, I think the Sharks will take that. And at times, both of them look dominant, especially in Game 7, and then you wonder, how did you let it get to Game 7 in the first place? One, you gotta give credit to the Dallas Stars because they did not get strong goaltending the whole way pretty much, and they didn't even have Tyler Seguin in the lineup for 1 game. All this while trying to take out a team that beat the Blackhawks. So St. Louis finally exercising some of their demons, but the hard way. If they can get more Game 7, Brian Elliott, I think they'll be fine. And then the Sharks and Predators, holy smokes, the Preds don't go away, do they? Even though the last goal they scored was in Game 6, they don't go away. Just a feisty, rotten team to play against. You don't want to play in their building because their fans are out of their minds. But I think we saw in Game 7, and I think we saw in a couple games this series, just what a powerhouse the Sharks have become. Elliot Friedman was sort of joking, half joking. They have a power play line that's just captains! And when it comes to favorites, man, I don't know who to pick. And I don't know who to pick in this series. I mean, they both just finished 7-game wars, but even though the Sharks had a 7-game war against the Preds, they did manage to knock off the Kings in 5. The Blues have played the maximum 14 games, not to mention that the first 7 were against Chicago. For that reason, I think the Sharks have the edge, but I don't know. Tell you what, consider this. We got two teams who are exercising their playoff demons, as it were, unlike the Capitals. We got the St. Louis Blues and the San Jose Sharks. One of them is going to be in the Stanley Cup final, and neither of them has ever won a Stanley Cup. That's very exciting. So, who do you got in round 3? Is it going to be the Penguins or the Lightning? And is it going to be the Sharks or the Blues? So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends, and stop watching. Stop watching. They're not wasting any time. They're starting round 3 right now.